And the method is really just figuring out a path to be back on track.
Yeah.
And, these banking institutions, credit unions, they are motivated to help you get back to a point where they can give you those consumer loans. So have them help you outline what that is. Look at, our episode, and if we can get you the details,
definitely.
Ask us questions, ping us, whatever that is. But at the end of the day, you can repair it. It is not so far in the past that you can't figure out a way back.
All right, welcome. I'm Jason Andrus.
I'm Colter Hansen.
And I am excited to be here again.
Yeah, me too. We're going to talk about credit today.
Credit.
Why is credit so important? And we'll get into later why it doesn't have to be important.
Yeah, it's like that unicorn in the woods. It's something everybody's governed by, but nobody really understands. It really is. It's crazy. You would think that that'd be a required class in high school to take understanding credit.
And why that isn't taught, along with like 100 other subjects that I think we are starting to talk about.
Yeah.
Why isn't that addressed of like, hey, this is important, or this is why you would want to pay attention to keeping your credit score positive?
Yeah.
Rather than just being like, oh, I'm gonna function through life hoping that it all just sticks in the right places.
Man, it'd be such a help if you took that class. It was a required class for senior, understanding credit, and they gave you, okay, as soon as you graduate, right now, go do this, and go get a credit card and apply for this, and then do it this way. And then within a year, you've got, your credit scores built up, and you've got some history of making payments on time. I mean, there's so many things out there that it's simple, but just nobody knows about. So I think it's going to be a good episode to dive into what is credit, why is it important, how to use it, and then what do you do if you have bad credit?
Yeah.
Is that kind of where we're going to go?
I think so. So
right.
Credit is, let's just start with, you have Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. That are the three primary credit bureaus that monitor credit. And why is credit, and we're talking about personal credit today, a Dun & Bradstreet, business credit number, and
that's a whole
score is a whole different episode.
In fact, talking about that, we got to have Megan in on our show.
Oh, we should, yeah. That would be great to
She talks about business credit, but let's keep going with what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's my ADHD right there.
Squirrel!
Yeah, exactly.
But the personal credit is monitored by those three primary credit bureaus, and then what they're looking at is history of on-time payments. They're looking at the utilization of credit, and what are some
debt to income,
and recent credit pulls.
Yep, recent credit pulls. Yep.
So they're wanting to know like how often are you asking to get new credit lines? And that's the credit pulls. They want to see, what your debt to income is and how does that compare in ratio in there. And then also, coming back to your history, are you actually a good payer? And why that isn't taught of like, hey, you need to pay on time.
Yeah. And if you don't pay on time or you miss a month, how long is it going to take you to get back on track? Because, people miss. It happens. It happens to the best of everybody where they've missed a payment or something's happened, or maybe they didn't get paid on something, and so they had to squeeze out 45 days. It's not the end of the world. A lot of people think, oh no, I've just ruined my credit forever, and you haven't.
And then they just give up on it.
Yeah,
right? They retreat and they just hide from it, and which that just makes it worse.
Yeah.
But if you just get back on a plan or call your creditor and just say, hey, you know what, I want to get back on track. What do I need to do? And start into a payment plan, they will help you. They are motivated to get paid back by you. Even if you are, 15 days late, it's way better than you being 150 days late and then getting so far into the hole that it really feels like there's no way out.
And I've talked to a few bankers and they said it's amazing, even if you get like a 30-day late or even a 60-day late, whatever ends up happening, if you get in and catch up and make the payments on time, within 6 months you can drastically change your credit outlook. Because the banks look 6 months, they look at a couple years, 2 years, but they like, okay, what was your explanation here? What happened? Well, this happened and this happened, but as soon as I got back on top of it, I've been good for 6 months. So they consider that, all right, I think this guy's a safe bet. Mm-hmm. I think he's gonna do what he says he's gonna do. He has that one stain on his credit, and we're back going. Now, if you've done longer than that, like you've had a year of missing payments and foreclosure or else, you may have to go a few more years to repair that credit, but it's still repairable.
And the method is really just figuring out a path to be back on track.
Yeah.
And you can sit with a typical, really any banker and just say, hey, I want to get this back on track. What is it that you would need from me in order to get there?
Yeah.
These banking institutions, credit unions, they are motivated to help you get back to a point where they can give you those consumer loans. So have them help you outline what that is. Look at, our episode, and if we can get you the details,
definitely.
Ask us questions, ping us, whatever that is. But at the end of the day, you can repair it. It is not so far in the past that you can't figure out a way back.
So why is good credit good? Let's go over that just quick.
And why can we, and how can we use it? Right?
Yeah, and how can we use it? Yep.
So good credit, good. I like that question, right? Good credit, good. Going to the bank or the credit unions, you're able to get vehicle loans, personal lines of credit,
Lower interest rates,
a mortgage, to buy a home. Those are all the traditional financing offerings, I guess, that are out there.
Which is good. We all use
just function.
Yeah.
Normal day to day. We need a vehicle. We need a place to live, and so we just got to have. And having credit makes it easier from a traditional standpoint to help get those loans secured.
Definitely. In fact, it can even affect your insurance rate. It can affect a few things. There's people out there that'll, like, if you need to go out and get like an insurance bond for a business or something along the lines, if you have a really bad credit score, you may have to pay more for that because they consider you a little more risky. And so credit scores, too much is governed by it. And I can complain about it, but it's not going to help. You just have to play the game.
Yeah.
I used to have this quote all the time. I used to say, you can win at the game as long as you know the rules to the game. So you need to learn the rules and then play by it so that you can win. Because if you don't know the rules or you don't know the game very well, then you're just going to be out there floundering, just having life happen to you. But if you can learn the rules of the game and learn how the game's played, then jump in and play it. Even if you might, this is stupid or this is silly, it may be. But if you want to play in that game, you may have to do a few of those silly things that you don't think is necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, so learn the rules to the game, make your payments on time. Credit utilization, I just wanted to touch on that a little bit.
Good.
If you have a $10,000 line of credit on a credit card, do not exceed 50% of that line.
Good thought.
Like, that $10,000 is not for you to max it out and then pay interest on that the next month.
Yeah.
And do not get out of the habit of paying that entire balance off every single month. If you don't have the money, do not put it on a credit card to then have to bear that interest long term, right? If you have $10,000 line of credit, there are different financing methods, some of which we actually are familiar with, where
Yes.
you can get 0% for 12 or 24 months. There are so many different options, but you do not want to max out that credit card and then have to be making payments at 21 to 28% interest and only making that minimum payment, which just it never reduces.
I got an example of that. I have a couple different credit cards. I do one for Southwest, one for Cabela's when I'm doing my rehabs, and I put a lot of, so I get points for both. Get free flights, get a new gun at Cabela's. It works out pretty good. So anyways, I didn't realize that I hadn't made a payment. Well, payment was made, but I didn't realize it was maxed out. We pulled our credit for something, I can't remember, and she's like, wow, your credit's usually a little higher than this. He goes, why is it like 680? I'm like, I don't know. So she looked, she goes, oh, both your cards are maxed out. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So I was like, hold off. We came back about 2 days later. I paid 50% down on both of those because I had the money to do it. I was just playing the game of credit cards. And she says, okay, now that's released. She goes, it'll take a few more days. Within a few more days, my credit score jumped back up to a 780. But a full 100 points because I had two cards maxed out that normally weren't maxed out. So then I think the credit bureau's like, oh, okay, what's he doing? Mm-hmm. Why does he got these two maxed out? Usually he doesn't have them maxed out. So it looks like it's risky. Mm-hmm. But as soon as I paid it down 50% on both, boom, it jumped right back up where it was at before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So credit utilization is important, making your payments on time, keeping your debt to income ratio, meaning hustle, go and make, the money that you can and,
Yep.
Think outside the box of other ways to make money and, and don't pull your credit 3 times a month.
Yes. Don't do it. Now, I do know, I used to do mortgages back in the day. If you are shopping for mortgages and you have a mortgage place, pull your credit, another place, pull your credit, as long as it's in a 30-day period, it doesn't ding it anymore to pull it more than 3 or 4 times in that 30-day period, because the credit bureau is like, oh, they're shopping for a mortgage.
Yeah.
And so that's good. But other than that, yeah, don't go out and start applying for this, applying for that, and get denied and get approved. And all once bells and whistles start going off, they're like, oh, what's he doing? What's he doing? Let's lock her down, you know?
Yep. Well, so now we've talked about credit. Credit can be used in such a powerful way, whether you're buying your personal home, you're buying a rental property, whatever that may be. But we want to talk about ways that you can avoid having to use your personal credit at all.
Yes.
And still be able to buy investment properties, create real wealth, and do it beyond just this personal evaluation of your risk level according to these 3 credit bureaus. So we'll dive into that in the next episode.
Yeah.
Think about credit, think about how you use it, and maintain it, manage it. It is something that can be an asset for you if you use it correctly.
And it is necessary.
It is necessary, but it is not the end of the world if it's screwed up right now. It does not, your credit score is not a determiner of who you are as a person and your
self-worth. Yeah.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. I think too many people put too much weight on that, like, oh, I've got a 600 credit score. So what? You know what I mean? Let's just move forward and let's get it up into the 700s.
Yeah, absolutely. So focus on those things. If you have any other questions, reach out to us. But at the end of the day, just you can do it.
Yeah.
Credit is not that hard. Now let's talk about creative ways of being able to utilize anything but credit.
Awesome. Let's do it.